century. The only problem is there's not a portion, a shred of evidence to prove that. The Westcott and Hort New Testament. Westcott and Hort worked on their New Testament from 1853 until its completion in 1881, intending to replace the received text that underlines our King James Version of the Bible. They called it vile. They hated the vile Textus Receptus. They were determined to replace the Greek Textus Receptus and emasculate the King James Version of the Bible. Their toxic theory alleged that for 1,500 years, the preserved Word of God was lost. You know what? That is so tragic. I don't believe it for a minute. I believe we have the Antiochian text, and I believe that it's God's preserved Word. And I believe that what Westcott and Hort did was demonic. It clearly was demonic. They claimed two old manuscripts were discovered that were preserved in near perfect condition. I'm going to build a little bit on what Dr. Sorensen said. They said Vaticanus, or B, and Codex Sinaiticus, also called Aleph, that they were these near perfect texts and that they were 4th century manuscripts. Codex Vaticanus. Now, here's what I just laugh about. There are 3,036 textual variation between these two near perfect manuscripts. I want you to know that. Vaticanus and Sinaiticus. The texts of the Gospels alone, look at the differences. In Matthew, 656 times, Vaticanus and Sinaiticus don't say the same thing. They disagree. In Mark, 567, they disagree. In Luke, 791. And in John, 1,022 places, they do not agree. Oh, near perfect manuscripts? I mean, somebody was playing marbles and lost theirs. I'll tell you what. It's actually easier to find two consecutive verses in these two manuscripts that differ than two consecutive verses in which they agree. And I have facsimile copies of Vaticanus. I have facsimile copy of Sinaiticus, and that's true. I love this. Codex Sinaiticus, or, Aleph, nearly perfect. Well, Dr. Parker, the author of Codex Sinaiticus, the story of the world's oldest Bible, states that there may be as many as 27,000 corrections to the text. But Dr. Scott McKendrick, that I wrote a letter and Dr. Stringer wrote a letter asking for Dr. Sorensen to be able to see the manuscript. Dr. Scott McKendrick, head of the Western Heritage Collection at the British Library, says, and I have it verbally on tape, that there are 35,000 corrections and edits in Sinaiticus. How can that be near perfect? Somebody is lost or slipped a cog, my friends. I should note that there are 4 types of corrections.